presence of the Lord. If you can appreciate the worship team in the name of Jesus. Help me appreciate Mom as well. Hallelujah. Glory to God. The greatest thing that can happen to you is when you begin to understand the ways of God. And in understanding the ways of God, you begin to learn, among other things, how God visits his people and how to engage the Lord when he visits his people. One of the things that I pray should not happen to any of us is to miss out on God when God pays us a visit, and to not be able to interpret God when God comes to us is something that should not happen to any of us. The Apostle Paul one time cried out and he said that I may know him, that I may know him, and the power of his resurrection and the fellowship of his suffering. The desire of Paul was to know God, and that should be your desire. You should desire to know him, and in knowing God, you begin to understand how God operates. In the world of knowing God, you begin to understand that this is how God operates. This is how God moves. This is how God does his things. This is how God presents himself. That is what it involves when we talk about knowing God. We're talking about getting to know how God functions, getting to know how God moves, getting to know how God does things. That is all about knowing God. Therefore, as I teach us on prophetic blessing, I'm teaching us on knowing how God has bestowed things that ought to bless our lives and where he has bestowed them, and knowing where God has put what I need. And if God has put what I need there, how do I get it? So that's the whole thing about the prophetic blessing. Sometimes you hear people saying, Pastor, I don't want to miss out my blessing. Pastor, I'm still waiting on my blessing. Man of God, I'm still expectant of my blessing. Now, when I teach about prophetic blessing, I'm intending to open your eyes so that you may be able to know where is it and how do I get it. It is not just about I will get it. The question is, where is it and how do I get it? So we said so much last Sunday, and this morning I want to finish up with two more packages of the prophetic blessing. When we talk about the prophetic blessing, how does it happen? How does it come? How is it conveyed to us? How does it reach us? And when it comes, what does it involve? What does it entail? What does it carry? Once you know these things, you will be operating, functioning with knowledge. And when people see you doing some things, you're doing them because your knowledge base is in a higher dimension. We don't just do things. As a believer, don't just do things. As a believer, don't just be found in places. As a believer, don't just go about. Let what you do be backed by what you know. We do from what we know. We function from what we know. Our behavior is a prediction of what we know. Jesus said, you shall know what? And the truth will do what? So when you see me free doing some things, it is because of what I know. There are also things people do because of what they don't know. There are things people say because of what they don't know. There are behaviors people exhibit because of what they don't know. Sometimes you don't blame people, you blame their ignorance. Sometimes it is not a behavior, it is a manifestation of what they don't know. When a generation dawns on a man of God that God has used to change lives, and they begin to tear him on the internet and throw stones at him and make him a mockery even among children, you don't blame them, you blame their ignorance. They don't know. One time Jesus said, I believe this should be Psalm 82 or something. He said, because they don't know, they walk on in darkness and they will die like mere men. I don't know if you can find that. I said to you, you are gods. And if he called them gods to whom the word of God came, how much him that the Father has set apart and sent? But in Psalm, he said, they do not know. They walk on in darkness. Just find that. They do not know. They walk on in darkness and they will die like mere men. Lay your hands on yourself and say, as I listen to this man teach me, I will not die like a mere man. Which means there is how mere men die. Oh, there's a death you see a man dying, even if he was claiming he knows God, you know he was a mere man. They don't die like mere men. Now let me read this for you. Lay your hands again on yourself and say, what killed my father cannot kill me. What killed my mother cannot kill me. Whatever kills mere men will not kill me. I'm not a mere man. Why? What you know? Look at this. Psalm 82. Oh, I got it. Verse number 3. He said, they do not know, nor do they understand. You able to see it wherever you are? They do not know. Talk to me this morning. Stop behaving like I owe you anything. I owe you nothing. Did I force you to come to church? No. So stop behaving like I forced you to come. Your destiny called you here. And my calling brought me here. So let's cooperate. They do not know. Nor do they understand. They walk about in darkness. When men don't know some things, they utter stuff because they don't know. The reason I can't speak against a man of God, even when he talks against me, is what I know. The reason I will never train you to go on the internet and attack another pastor because he's attacking me is because of what I know. This is what I know. When you see me with a man that no one wants to be with, it's because of what I know. The reason you run away from your father the day he's naked is because of what you don't know. People think they are safe by running away. Why are you running? My pastor committed adultery. So man of God, I'm running into safety. You needed to have rewinded the hand he laid on you first. Because the hand will find you in the spirit. You can run away from what is pursuing you, but you can't run away from what is running through you. You think you can spend 20 years listening to a man, he's laying hands on you, he's speaking things over you, then your life breaks through, then you see some light, then you think you can run. Run, we want to see. You'll know your grandmother never went to school, but she entered an aeroplane before you. Before there were Before there were aircrafts, there was witchcraft. So don't think that white men can scare us. It is you that thinks an aircraft is a new thing. It's not new to your grandfather. It's not new to your grandmother. Why are you running? Pastor, my mother is a witch. So I can't go to the village. So we are hiding here with my wife. We don't want them to touch our children. Who brought you to this earth? The man you are running away from. His words can find you even if you are 40,000 feet above the sea level. So wise men don't run from a fallen father because of what they know. But I don't want to be smeared by that. Haven't you heard what the man has done? So I don't want to be messed up. You are messed up, Kitambo. You should be talking about, show me how to clean up. If your father is a drunkard, it is running through you without your knowledge. It is how you honor him that may keep you from repeating what happened to him. Look at this. So what you know makes you not run away the day your mother is naked. That why are you running? Didn't you hear what my mother has done? My mother has run mad. She's embarrassing my children. So I'm running into safety. 25 years from now, you will see it in your daughter and you'll know you never ran away. That's why I said, after flying around the world, don't forget the road to your village. Many did not get what I said. Some even asked, Pastor, what about those who don't have villages? Then you are a spirit. They do not know, nor do they understand. Our generation doesn't understand. Because he has data bundles and he can write some stupid stuff in one single room somewhere. He thinks he knows. They do not know, nor do they understand. They walk about in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are unstable. Look at verse number. I said, you are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. Look at verse 7. But you shall die like men and fall like one of the princes. Why? They didn't know. You'll die like an ordinary man because you didn't know. There is what to know that snatches you from the claws of death. There is what to know that snatches you from the very thing that is slaying men. There is what to know that makes you take certain actions. Raise your hands and say, Lord, by what I know, there are mistakes I cannot make. That's why I'm teaching you these things. That you may know. That you may know. People think they know God. You don't know God until you know these things I'm telling you. So you can therefore know how to pick God when God is in the mess. Because God will never come without hiding in the mess. So that you can know how to pick God in the mess. So that you can know how to pick the blessing from a blind Isaac. He's blind, but you know how to pick the blessing. Noah is naked, but then you know how to put a garment on your shoulder and cover the naked man and run away with his blessing. Because you know. Shem and Japheth knew what Ham didn't know. When you don't know, you shout like an idiot. When you don't know, you see one funny video about a man of God and you start posting it on Facebook. Because you don't know. There are things I know. I know better. There are battles I don't want to begin. So there are things I don't say. There's a man you point your fingers at, and 10 generations from you today will suffer that finger you pointed. This is what I know. That's what I'm teaching you. That you may not fall like a mere man. That you may not die like a sacrificial goat. I came to prepare you that you don't fall by the same bullet that has brought men down because they didn't know. You can be anointed and not know. You can sing and not know. Can have a job with a salary of $20,000 and not know. How do we know? By the things you're saying. They didn't know. They died like mere men. They fell like one of the princes. There's a level of revelation of God that makes you more than a man. Lay your hands on yourself again and say, I will not die like a sacrificial goat. I know better. There's what to know, and there's how it causes you to behave. Don't you hear that man insulting you? Say, yes, I had it, but I'm held back by what I know. Shakada. King David knew something, that the day Absalom rose up against him, he didn't fight. What David knew is what killed Absalom. There's something that an old man knows. That's why when you begin to insult an old man, he picks his walking stick, looks at you again, shakes his head, and leaves. He knows that some things are not fought by confrontation. He knows some things happen by elimination. So as he's going back to his home and he's looking at you and crying, he's not saying anything, but he knows he kills you by walking away. Shahakita balada. So listen. Don't be scared. I'm still Maurice Solo. But I've always known there's Maurice Solo, there's Maurice Solo. They are not the same. Depends on what you know. Look at this. So when you know, you can be able to tell a prophetic blessing when it is coming. And one way a prophetic blessing comes, don't forget, I'm teaching you how to pick God that has climbed on men. One old man, some years ago, when the presence of God came heavily in his meeting, he wasn't as old as he is today. Today is 86 years old. Back then, the presence of God came on his meeting and he spoke in vernacular. And he said, hold the people. Simbo Idogwan. I'll interpret. See, what is going to happen today? Hold the people. A lion has climbed on a donkey. In other words, you're saying, Jesus has climbed on a man. This is what you're saying. Today I'm not alone. There's someone on me. So hold the people. I may be a beast. Ogwang is a beast. But Jesus is a lion. And when you see a carpet laid for a donkey, it's not about a donkey. It's because of what is on a donkey. The reason we don't want to play games with men of God is not because of what we saw that they did. It is the hand that picked some of them from prison. If a man stays in prison for 20 years and a certain hand preserves him and brings him out and he begins to deliver criminals, deadly men that rehabilitation centers cannot deliver, you look beyond the man and you see what pulled the man out. Peradventure, it may preserve your relatives that are dying in jail. So there is a wisdom you need so that you can pick God when God is on a man you don't know how to handle. And this is what God has put. If you can't handle the man, you can't find me. There are things God has left on some men kama kikwazo ili wajinga wakose baraka zao. You can't take your father's blessing without dealing with your father's urine if he's urinating on himself. I brought my dad a powerful suit. My mother said, you know he has this bladder thing. Makojo itaenda kwa hiyo nguo nzuri. Nikamwambia mama hiyo ndio nataka. Wacha akojole. So that I will never have to pray about clothes the rest of my life. So that the rest of my life I will run boutiques and I will own design shops. It was from the urine that went on a good suit. Because God sometimes cannot open your blind eye without putting mud on the same blind eye. He can't bless what he has not messed. If you can't deal with my mess, forget my anointing. Generation that say, man of God, release it on me. But if you find me naked, will you take it? God had to ensure David found Saul naked. Saul had not yet blessed him. Because you can't carry my grace if you can't go through my graves. Shahadi. Let me tone down. Simon, if you want to carry my grace, sit down. You must be proud of my mess. That's why many armor bearers make dangerous commitments. One of the Bishop Oyedepo was armor bearer one time said, I made up my mind that not the day I'll find this man naked with 10 women will I change my mind. I made up my mind that if I find him drunk and naked on the road, he will remain my pastor. It's not easy. Some of the things I've seen with my fathers, you need to be strong to stay. Because remember, if you are the child that is staying, if you are Japheth and Ham, if you are Japheth and Shem, Ham will preach to you. If you are an Elisha, the sons of the prophet will preach to you. What are you doing there? Can't you see? And they have scriptures. This Bible can help you miss your blessing. And it can help you get your blessing. What are you doing there? Why follow the man? You are too clean to be in such a dirty place. The waters are dirty. But Naaman, go down. Simbo idogwang. What do you do when grace is on something you don't like? What happens when a woman that is a drunkard gives birth to a political enigma? What happens when an illiterate woman gives birth to an academic giant? The waters are dirty, but the healing is in the water. I came to teach you that you may know how to pick the blessing and how to maneuver your way and how to leave Saul asleep and wait for him to bless you. I came, Shadi Hika, Shahada, lay your hands on you and say, I will not die like an ordinary man. I will not die like a mere man. I will not die like a man. A mere man is a mere man. Meh! That's why people die. One of my people that works with one of the leading airlines in the world, he said, we took off the other day, and a few minutes after we took off, we realized we have cabin pressure. Do you know what cabin pressure is? It means the plane cannot rise to the altitude it's supposed to rise. Very dangerous. Then the person remembered, I have the message this morning, remembered that Maurice Olo is my pastor. And he said, the God of that man, this plane will be preserved because of that man. They don't know what happened. You know, flights are now resuming. Things resumed normal. You know why? Because the person didn't say Maurice Olo. He said, the God, there's a way I know him. That when you mention him and remind him, listen, there are people that Satan has a testimony about them. Before you insult the devil, find out how much you know God. Because he met God before God met you. He could be knowing God more than you know God. Before you mock the devil and call the devil a bastard devil, find out if you know God. Or else you'll repeat the story of the sons of Sceva. The devil told them, Paul we know, and Jesus we know. But when we look at you, you don't deserve telling us what you're telling us. It's not all strongholds that you can bind. There are demons you can't rebuke. I know a man of God that had a church of 2,000 members, confronted an altar, and the Saturday from that day they buried him. That you are preaching doesn't mean you can cast out every devil. There are things you can't confront. There are things you run to fathers that were given that mantle so that they can cover you. That you got a few millions doesn't mean now you can do what you want to do. May God preserve you. That you fasted for 80 days and you came out and you waved your hand and all watchmen fell down does not mean you don't need a father. That you gathered men and say, power! And they fell. You may not know what made them fall. Keep me from dying like an ordinary man. There's what you know that when your mother's voice rises, say, Mama, Mama, it's okay. Say, never repeat that again. Say, sorry. Say, come. My daughter, you didn't say well, but it is okay. Because you are wise. A daughter knew the mother's boyfriend. A girl. Is it this week? And the boyfriend is much younger than the mother, much younger than their last born. She confronted the mother. The mother yelled, looked for dirty water, and washed her. And told her, go and marry. If you are stupid, you will find a stupid pastor like you who will pray for you and make you believe it is gone. If that girl will never beg that mother so that they talk about that thing and kneel down and be sure that the mother has sincerely forgiven her and blessed her, she will never be in the right marriage. Why did the mother mention of all things marriage and pour dirty water? She may not be born again, but parents are embodiments of divinity. Someone wrote me the other day and said, I'm like a Mephibosheth before you. You are King David. Because he made a mistake and I'm trying to correct him. And he's telling me, I'm like Mephibosheth. You are King David. Allow me to run away from you. I told him, when you break your legs, you'll understand what you have said. You are attracting what happened to Mephibosheth. It will happen to you. The prophetic blessing then, number 6, I give you 2. Because in the next service, we are going to look at how do we access it. I love that. Nitaingiaje kwa maji machafu bila maji machafu kunichafua? Pastor, sasa kama mamangu analala na kijana mdogo hivyo, hata nibariki aje bila kunipatia hiyo roho? Na alikuzaa aje? Ulikaa ndani yake miezi 9. Ulibeba hiyo roho kitambo. Your prayer should not be avoiding it. Your prayer should be, how do you get free? Because you are already in it. Pastor, I really wanted to go and see my dad, but he's a polygamous man. He has married 6 more wives. The question is not he has. The question is it is already running through you. You may not be having a strange wife, but look at your behavior. That is already operating in. So your question is not whether you'll be free. And I can show you scripture after scripture. Scripture after scripture. Scripture after scripture. Get out of this shouting of the 21st century. Where people shout, it is gone, it is gone. Write a piece of paper, throw it. It is gone, it is gone. You haven't started. What are you mjinga? Hakuna kitu imeenda. How comes your head has not changed? That look like exactly like your father's head. It's a prophecy. That the direction his head took him, your head is taking you. But there is a way you can change direction. I've never seen a young preacher that attacked a fallen preacher that stood for long. If you know one, show me. Sometimes your greatest test of leadership is when you are trusted with the nakedness of your leader. You either lose it there or pass the test. Something happened to me. Nobody had taught me these things. I was a very young minister. We went somewhere with the father. That father, bless the Lord, has since gone to be the Lord. Till he died. I don't know who kept me silent. I never shared that thing in church. I have never shared that thing with any living being. One time I was sharing with Mama, but I said, thank God, even you can't tell who it is. Because it's long gone. Nobody can tell. And I will never mention his name. It is a secret I will go to the grave with, what I saw. And one time I was praying, and God told me, do you remember? I said, Lord, why are you reminding me this man? He said, because of what you did to this man. And you will keep keeping. There is an aspect of your life that will never be invaded. A number of times when God related with men, you heard him telling men, because you have done this thing. Not because I am God. No, because you have done this thing. There's something I'm going to do in your life. Men are embodiments of secrets. Let me run into this. So there's a way the prophetic blessing comes. Number 6. It comes in the form of replenishing. Replenish. Then, of course, after that, I'll give you 3 definitions or 4 of where prophet then is. It comes in the form of replenishing. One way God will allow a prophetic blessing to come our way is in the form of replenishing. When the widow of Zarephath was broke and had her last meal, it was a setup for her to experience what we call a prophetic blessing. When God sent Elijah to Zarephath, Elijah didn't go to Zarephath to look for food. Elijah went to Zarephath embodied with prophetic grace to make a life. Now listen. So when Elijah came to this woman's house, it is what we call a prophetic visitation. And as I've told you, that the prophetic blessing is nothing but heaven invading the life of a man. So heaven came to this woman's house. Someone raise your hand and say, may heaven come to me. I didn't hear you. Say it again. May heaven visit my life. Say it again. May heaven visit. There are men that are not men, but they are messengers from heaven. And you can meet them very ordinarily. The woman was gathering sticks to go and fix her last meal, to eat with her son and die. And on the other end, God had commanded Elijah, get from the brook, get down to Zarephath. I have commanded a widow to take care of you there. There are men God commands you to give something, and you are not helping them. It is because God has visited you. There is a burden to buy a certain car while the world is rioting. Hey, I'm a pastor. Watatuonyesha mambo. Kumbe God has seen a premature grave that he wants to keep you from. And he's giving you a chance to buy a car for a human being. People are saying you are stupid. How do you take all that loan? Unajua wengine mmekuwa brainwashed. But based on your knowledge, say you don't know. So Elijah comes down, mama, to Zarephath. Heavenly transactions in human form. And he comes to the gate, and the widow is collecting sticks. And Elijah tells her, hey, mama, bring me water. It wasn't a man telling her to bring water. It was heaven telling her, we want to invade your life, but we want you to do something. She's going to bring water. Elijah looks at her and says, not only water, bring me a morsel of bread. Because heaven, I'm coming on how to access it. So bring me a morsel of bread. The woman told heaven, as the Lord your God lives, I do not have. What an insult. Listen. There are people you listen to, and after listening to them, don't write a text and begin by saying, man of God, I wish I could do something. Never start like that. It is like nullifying the message you've heard. Then the man of God tells her, don't worry. You said it is the last. Go and prepare for me fast. Let your last be. This is it. Go and make for me fast. Get yourself out of the way. Give me some priority. Let me eat it. Then after that, prepare for you and your son. Because Elijah was aware, I'm not a mere man. I can't join you in the hunger that is killing you. I came to tell you that I refuse to listen to your stories about loans you cannot pay. Because that's not why I'm in your life. So that you start telling me stories. That man of God, do you have 5 minutes? I want to tell you how it has been. That's not why I'm in your life. That is not why. And I pray you catch this. That I want to tell you what I've been going through. I'm not in your life to hear it. Because me hearing it will not help you. So don't look for 2 hours to sit me down. To begin from your great grandfather. And come to your grandfather. And come to your father. Then come to your own. Is mockery at what God can do. It doesn't sound well in the pastoral office. Because a pastor has to listen to everything. You have to understand the pastoral and the prophetic are not the same. A pastor can easily pamper your devil. A prophet does not pamper it. Rough stuff. Elijah was not a pastor. He was a man of God. As a pastor, you have to be worried that people will not come. But a man of God only worries that is God there. May God deliver you from being a pastor. May you be a man of God. Because not every pastor is a man of God. And it doesn't mean that they are not called. They are called. How do you do a thing like that? There's a boldness you need to look at a widow and tell a widow, you said this is the last meal. Go and prepare for me first. At least you could have told her, go and give it to God. It sounds spiritual. But go and prepare for me first. Then, as a pastor, you could have pretended to go behind the tent that you are giving it to God. He ate it while the woman was watching. The woman's son was watching as well. The woman looked at the mother and said, Mama, what is happening? He said, we have seen pastors, but this one. And he ate it. When he was done, he wiped his mouth. And he said, Mama, eating is just the beginning. I'm going to live in your house. So that if I lied by eating this meal, you can tell me on my face. And now here is a single man living with a widow that has no husband in the same house. Pastors care about their names. Prophets don't care those things. How do you explain to the community that the woman is a widow and you are a man, you have no wife, and you are living in that house? How? It is not logical. A pastor is concerned about keeping a good name. How can they, what will they say when they see me coming out of that woman's house? And then you tell them that I'm living here prophetically. Which kind of a prophecy is that? Elijah, will mama allow me to do a thing like that? Elijah, the man of God. But for you to know he's a man of God, the woman did not become pregnant with another boy. So you want to walk with God, get rid of your pastoral mentality and put on the mindset of a man of God. Mama, you call me on phone, I've traveled to Europe, and say, Daddy, where are you putting up that there's this widow? Send me her picture. I send you. So is there other workers? No, it is just me and her, Mama. She's cooking well, Mama, and the prophetic is flowing. Hey, Mama will take the next available flight. Say, hey, this is not ministry. Oh. Hallelujah. So Elijah then comes. Somebody said the prophetic blessing. So Elijah comes into the house of this widow. And after eating, 1 Kings 17:14. So he comes and stays there. It is not a man staying there. Heaven has made residence in the woman's house. There are men that come into your life. Heaven has covenanted with you. There are men who carry heaven. I'm aware of that. That's why no matter what I can see, I go beyond what I can see, so that I don't miss the heaven they carry. For thus says the Lord God of Israel, the bin of flour shall not be used. Now, can we pick it from around verse 13? How prophetic blessing comes. You will not miss your blessing. You will not miss God. You will not be a mere man. Look at this. And Elijah said to her, do not fear. Don't be afraid. Do you have something that is the only thing that is left now? Your eyes are shining on it. You know the account where it is. If you imagine giving it, unasikia sauti ingine inapita nyororo, it is your life now. I'm sorry to announce I came for it this morning. If you like laugh, if you like smile, if you like cry, but somehow, you know where it is. Some are looking down. You're the one I'm talking to. I'm looking you in the face. Do not fear. Don't be afraid. Go and do as you have said. But make me a small cake from it first and bring it to me. And afterwards, make some for yourself and your son. Now, number one, I want you to understand this. This was the last little flour and oil. So after you make for me, what is left to make for you and your son? In that statement alone will tell you the dimension Elijah was operating from. It was enough for the woman and her son. They eat, they die. But Elijah is saying, that same thing that is enough for you and your son, you eat and die. Make for me first. By the time you are done, you will realize it is more. Because I am here. The bin of flour shall not be used up, nor shall the jar of oil run dry, until the day the Lord sends rain on the earth. What is that? Mafuta haitaisha kwa hiyo container. Let me speak to some bank accounts. You will never have less than the best you've ever had before. I don't like your amen. Are you saying amen or you are saying amen? Let me speak into some accounts that after this morning service, you will never, what you have now is the lowest you'll ever go. Let me speak into some accounts this morning. Let me speak into some jobs this morning. Let me speak into some businesses this morning. But the covenant of God that is upon my life, you will never go lower than this. You will never go down and lower than you are right now. Can I hear an amen? Now look at this. For thus says the Lord, which means you will take flour from the bin. You will take it, it will not go. You will pour the oil to cook. When you go back, the oil will not go. How did God visit a woman like this? He sent a prophet. A few things I want you to write down. That when God, Mama, wants to ensure some things don't end in your life, he sends some men to you. There are men who come to end the end. Write that one down. There are men who come to end the end. Shahadika, Libraza. There are men that what they take actually does not go. Their taking is like them filling it in. There are men that what they take makes you great. That's why you discover, I don't know, there may not be many people like that, but I don't think, not many of you are like that here. But there are some of you here, and I want to just use that as an example. How many of you here, sincerely speaking, not to please me, you have discovered that every time I take anything from you, it comes back double? If you have not yet experienced, kaa tu kama mbuzi mbe, si mbaya. Okay, you have discovered that, put it down. Now, that should tell you, they are men. I have them in my life. There are people I will fight anything I have to fight to keep blessing them. Because I'm not blessing them, they are blessing my life. There are men who add us by taking. And there are men who finish us by giving us. Did you get that? So based on what I know, my dear children in the Lord, you will never see me invite a great man of God, a prophet greater than me, here to help us with a fundraiser. Because that is how to finish yourself. I will never invite some men to contribute, I want to buy something. So I send a letter to them that come and help me buy a property. Kwisha. All my life, I've never been offended that a prophet that is great and is in my life did not contribute into my life. One time, my pastor booked us an expensive room next to his room. We traveled together. Then he had not changed foreign currency. He said, Morris, I love the way he calls me. He doesn't add apostle. He doesn't add pastor. He doesn't add man of God. He said, Morris and Pamela, do you have some money? I haven't changed my foreign currency. I've just landed. Do you have some money to do one or two things for me? I will return. I said, you will what? Return. I said, sir, we will do. So she went to her account, withdrew the money. We were traveling. We did those things. Then I told him, Papa, don't worry about it. He said, no, this one. I said, don't worry about it. Then we arrived. Then he booked us in a very expensive room next to him. I looked at my wife. I said, did we even sleep in that room? Some could have slept kuonja too. But I told my wife, has he paid? No problem. We are checking out of here tonight. Let's look for a room our level. I don't want to mess up this process. He can't give me anything. Wealthy, rich, blessed by God. But I rejected his gift. Not because it is wrong, but because of what I know. I've never sought great men to get anything from them. Anybody that is more anointed than me, I will never look for them so that I can use them to get anything. I look for them for one reason, to honor that thing. Because when I do, it is added to my life. If you are wise, never blame your father for what he never did in your life. Look for what you can do in his life now that you're an adult. Even if your father is a billionaire, educated others, take a loan, buy him a car. And tell him, mtoto uliye kataa, amekuletea gari. Uone mzee akilia. That you are in a ministry where others were treated well. And do you know that time we had some idiots also, some other Christians that were calling him their pastor, that were just siphoning money from the man. Me and my wife will say, these people are stupid. How can you be around a man like this to be siphoning money from him? Today, their story has not ended well. Even if your mother threw you out with the bath water, there's a way to preach to her that the one that was thrown out, Jephthah, is back to fight for the family. A pastor that harassed you, mistreated you, favored others, helped others, you ulikuwa unaangaliwa kama kwenda huko. Believe God to be the best giver ever in his life, so that at the end of the day, one day he will cry and say, those I thought were good have walked away. Na huyu mwenye nilidharau, kumbe ndiye yeye. I've taught pastors, the ones you'll treat well the most are the ones that will destroy you. Have you ever realized that anybody you have ignored for many years kept on staying around your life? And the people you cherished? When you reach my age in pastoring, even if the president becomes a member, you may never want to know where State House is. Because at this age you have seen so much. You have learned your lessons. It is not how much you pursue them. Some people change the day you start pursuing them. There are people that will mistreat you because you are treating them well. You didn't get that. You'll get that, Simon, when you are pastoring. Then you look back and say, that day, that man said something. I think it is coming to pass. On the day of Pentecost, Peter looked at them and said, this is that which was said. It can be said, you may not see it. But there is a day. You know, some of the things I'm teaching you, you may not see them now. You will see them one day. I was talking to one young pastor. He told me, man of God, I have hundreds of pastors that look up to me, that I mentor, that have submitted their lives here. Their ministries may not bear King's Gathering, but I'm overseeing their ministries. One told me, Papa, the members that I handled well most, even during Corona time, I would go and do services in their houses. It is now 3 Sundays, I have not seen them. This world is wicked. I said, no, the world is not wicked. The Spirit is teaching you what pastoring is. Those ones who are looking for a reason to live, thank God for Corona. Corona brought truth. If you had one fake boyfriend like this, Corona came to reveal him. Anytime you called him, say, wait for the pandemic to go down. I will show you how I love you. Any man that waits for pandemic to go... Don't kill me before my time. I'm now an old man. Main service will be dangerous. Now look at this. So, by the presence of Elijah in the life of this widow, some things were not permitted to end. Why? Because the prophetic blessing comes in the form of replenishing. The woman wondered why the flour was not finishing. Why the oil was not finishing. A prophetic blessing came to that house. There are some of you that your villagers are looking at you and they are saying, Rumoktam, hata hiyo yake itaisha tu. Ni ngapi tumeona? Hata hiyo gari yake itaisha. Even that marriage will just end. Naitwa kamati ya roho chafu. Hata hiyo job there are some of you that when the virus hit, your village celebrated and they were mocking your mother. The job the mother was bragging about, now Corona has come. We are all the same. But tell them there is a prophet in my life that came to end the ending. Some things are not ending in your life soon. You are not becoming a millionaire, then beg tomorrow. There is a prophetic blessing on your life. I'm not looking forward to see you down. If the economy likes, let the economy commit suicide, minus you. There was drought outside, but some things were not ending in the life of this woman. You wonder why you are sustained through some things. This therefore leaves us with a perfect definition of who a prophet is. Write this down. A prophet is not a man looking for what to take from you. He has come that things don't die. Do you remember that the widow's son died as Elijah was living there? And the woman began to blame Elijah and said, man of God, so you have come to remind the Lord of my sins. Elijah said, give me the baby. Nothing dies when I'm here. No contract will die. The flow of the company you worked for may die, but there is something you have built as a person, but based on your covenant relationship, that will not die. The money you have been handling is not about to come to an end. When doors may die, but God will not die. The child chose to die. Elijah said, bring the boy. You know what Paul said in Philippians chapter 4 verse 17? He spoke as a prophet. And this is what Paul said. Look at this. Paul said, Philippians chapter 4, 17. This is what Paul said. Note that, okay, can we pick it from around verse 15? Paul Paul said, I said, a prophet is not looking for something. When you hear give, it's not because the prophet is hungry. It means receive. Look at this. You Philippians know also that in the beginning of the gospel, when I departed from Macedonia, no church shared with me concerning giving and receiving, but you only. Because that time comes. For even in Thessalonica, even in Corona, you sent aid once and again for some of the necessities I had. Then Paul wants to correct their notion. You are not sending it because can I have the Message translation? Not Sean, son. Makes it originally academic. Have you been to Kisumu? There's a difference between Kisumu and Kisumu. They are not the same. If a woman is introduced that this is Nya Kisumu, it is different. But if you hear that this is Nya Kusumu, you are in trouble. Look at this. You Philippians well know, and you can be sure, I'll never forget it, that when I first left Macedonia province, venturing out with the message, not one church helped out in the give and take of this work, except you. You are the only one. Let's look at 16 now. Message. Even while I was in in Thessalonica, you helped out. And not only once, but twice. 17. Not that I'm looking for handouts. Look at your neighbor, ensure your mask is on, and look at him like you don't trust him, and tell him a prophet is not looking for handouts. Yes. Look at him like he's your driver. Okay? Somebody boxes your face, don't say I told you. Not that I'm looking for handouts, but I do want you to experience the blessing that comes from being generous to a man like me. Look at your neighbor again and say, a man like that man. Listen, there are people you can be generous to. Nothing will happen. Paul said, I'm not looking for handouts, but I want you to experience the blessing that comes. Mama, sometimes you take an offering and you kneel before me and you are my wife and you tell me you are my husband, but I have discovered there's a blessing that comes by giving to you. And equally I do that. I'm a weak man. I have many issues. I'm not perfect. But once in a while, my wife will tell you, I've also discovered there's a blessing that comes by me not giving her money to take care of the house, by just telling her, this is a seed to you. Do with it what you want to do. And God blesses me because of that. The greatest curse you can ever experience as a man is to frustrate someone's daughter, hide money away from her, and someone's daughter is begging you for money and is your wife. Saying there's not enough flour, see what you can do about it. And you count bundles of money and put in the coat. You are an idiot. You will die bad. The eyes with which that woman has looked at that money, that's the last money you'll ever have. Give your wife money. Utasikwa na pesa. People will be happy in your funeral, even if you don't give money today. They will eat happily. Let people that matter eat your sweat and your labor. Wacha mama akule, wacha watoto wafurahie. When your family is happy, there's a blessing God gives you. Kitoka hapa beba nyama, ukiingia pale, wacha wafurahie. There's a blessing that comes when your family, your wife, your children are happy. When your husband is happy. There's a shape you just put on without going to the gym. But when you are living with one man that is cursing you, no matter the weight you lift, your back will be dry like a log. Your own husband is cursing you. You'll never have shape. You try to throw what is not even there. When your husband is happy, you just begin to nepni. Tell your neighbor nepni. He nepni anepa, he nepni anepa. Now some people are speaking in tongue. He nepni anepa, he nepni anepa. Because your husband is happy. When your husband is angry, cursing what you do, you put eyelash, you look like a monkey. Because the curse of the husband has followed the eyelash. Ukadhani umeweka lipstick, kumbe umeweka rangi. Now you are wondering, do I chop off my lips or how do I remove it? Because you are not that a prophet is not a man looking for something. Not that I'm looking for handouts, but I do want you to experience. There's a blessing you only experience by being generous to a man like Paul. Verse 18, still Message translation. And now I have it all and keep getting more. The gifts you sent with Epaphroditus were more than enough. Like a sweet smelling sacrifice, resting on the altar, filling the air with fragrance, pleasing God no end. Leave that one first. Just leave it there. Are you seeing it? Paul is now telling them, let me show you what I was not, what I've never showed you. I'm an altar. And your gifts made God happy. There are men you go to bless. They may be weak. But when heaven looks at you and sees you there, heaven is already happy. God is pleased. Why? Paul has more. May you live to bless a man of God that he tells you, why all this? This too much now. Because heaven is smiling. It is the world that gets angry when a pastor has more than enough. But heaven smiles when your Paul has more than enough. Then Paul told them, these things you have now brought here, there is sweet smelling aroma. There's a smell that begins to follow a man after visiting a Paul. A sweet smell. You know about perfumes? There are some perfumes that smell like insecticides. Tafadhali, we need to have a class on image consultancy. There are clothes you don't wear if you are short. There are hairstyles you don't put on if you are short. There are colors you don't wear if you are tall. There are colognes you don't wear in the morning. There are colognes you don't wear over dinner. Watanga tu kuingia kwa style at in the latest style. Some hairstyles will make you look like you are carrying bread on your head. Not everyone can wear high heel shoes. Sasa pastor hapo naingilia wa mama kwa nini? Sio kukuingilia, ni kukusaidia. Sio kila mtu anaweza vaa suspender. Suspender ina wenyewe. You must have what should be suspended. Ayawa. Aul. So Paul tells them that when you guys came and brought all these things, you raised an altar. Giving does not just go like that. I'm not just giving. There are men you give to, and heaven marks you. Heaven says, because you went there. And in the world of darkness also, there are witches you give to, and you are marked. The rest of your life, it will never be forgotten. Even your great-grandchildren will live to remember that you gave to that witch. And the results of giving to that witch will follow them. So Paul tells them, because of this, an altar has been raised. Telling you there are men that are altars. And Paul said, I want you to experience the blessing that comes by this kind of generosity. Hallelujah. I don't like your amen now. Can I hear somebody say amen? Raise your hands and say, in the name of Jesus. Say it again, in the name of Jesus. The prophetic blessing, I will not miss out on it. In the name of Jesus. Number two, then, a prophet is a man that turns your last into your beginning. There are men that come into your life And what was like your last becomes your beginning. Prophets are builders of good. Of course, the widow's last meal became her beginning. You understand? Prophets are builders of good things. Prophets turn lives upside down. I can't finish. I can't go to number 2. Maybe I'll try to squeeze that in the main service and then get us into how do I access. The reason I'm teaching this is because this is one of the most abused branches of blessing. Because people don't know. May the world not teach us how to read our Bibles. So because we are ignorant, the world can just say what they want to say about pastors, and then you join them because you don't know. If you know this, you will never join the world on any internet platform. Even when you know that that man of God is wrong, you defend your own. We are in a generation that would rather be in good books with media than be in good books with God. And let me tell you the truth, that media is nobody's friend, even if you support them. If today they descend on a certain prophet and they're destroying him, don't just join it because our church has never been mentioned in the lights like that. Don't join them. We are fighting a common enemy. And if I can celebrate when another ministry is going down, when they are done going down, they are coming for me. What has torn men that went ahead of you? Let nothing deceive you, they are celebrating you. And this is a statement I made and I want to repeat it. I would rather be criticized for supporting a father than be celebrated for running around with my fellow naked youth. Write that down. I would rather be criticized that I ran to the rescue of a father that needed it than be celebrated that I'm in alliance with my age mates. Your age mates don't bless you. I've never seen a man kneel down for his friend to bless him. Your brother in your family, how can he bless you? Except he's a prophet. Hallelujah. Did you get that? Did you get that? So listen, a prophetic blessing comes that things don't end. There are people you connect with in your journey of life and things will never end in your life. There are people that you connect with also and you open a door for certain things to run riot in your life. A prophet, therefore, comes your way to end some things in your life. There are some things in your life that will end by you being here. May you be sensitive. May you know people that God raised in your life to protect you from scarcity. Because the day that Lot walked out of Abraham's life is the day Lot became an ordinary man. And it's always my prayer, Lord, give me grace to know who you have raised in my life. Not everyone is raised for me, but I must know who is raised by God in my life, that I may be able to sustain certain dimension of ministry and grace. And therefore I urge you this morning, as I release you from this morning service, I want you to always have it at the back of your mind that stretching your hand into the prophetic helps you to share in the blessing that comes by being generous like that. That is it. May no man deceive you. When the devil wants to destroy the church, the devil will begin to pick things that are not necessary. And then those who don't know begin to shout and begin to throw stones. May you not be found there. I am your man of God. May you not be found there. The things you don't understand, shut up. Don't comment. Don't write. Don't share. Share only the good. Because there is a blessing. There is a blessing. There's a blessing. Don't help your brothers to attack your father. Can I hear an amen? Can I hear an amen? Can I hear an amen? Raise your hands again and say, in the name of Jesus, I